tradition and history as a corps, all the way from the Revolution to today in Iraq and Afghanistan. We talk about what Army chaplains do. And just briefly, as Chaplain Fisher mentioned, it is supporting soldiers in their free exercise, to exercise their faith according to their own tradition. And sometimes that's misunderstood. I often have soldiers who may be atheists or agnostic, and they kind of want to pick a fight with the chaplain. They're a little antagonistic. You are just trying to push your faith on soldiers. Say that's not the case at all. You know that I'm here to protect your First Amendment right. And that's the truth as a chaplain, is even to ensure that you are not being made to attend a religious service against your own conviction if you don't wish to be there. Sometimes that's the case. It says, hey, I want every soldier at this particular chapel service or event. And say, sir, we can't force them to attend a service outside of their own faith or tradition. And I'm there to protect that right that you have as well. So sometimes that's a surprise, but that's what we want to do, is protect that First Amendment right, the free exercise clause for all of our soldiers. What do? Well, we're pastors, and as I go out and talk to seminarians, as I talk to pastors, and often ask them, do you know what Army chaplains do? They say, well, you pray with soldiers before they go into battle. You're there. I say, that's true. We are with them downrange. We are with them in those critical times. But in 10 years of being an active duty chaplain, I've only been overseas for 2 deployments. One was 12 months and one was 8 months. 20 months out of 10 years, I was deployed. What have I been doing those other years for the rest of the time that I've been serving the Army? Well, I've been doing the things that pastors do, conducting religious service, preaching and teaching. Sometimes, as you see, out with a group of soldiers under the trees. Soldiers that would never come to a church service, soldiers that would never come to the chapel. Well, when you, the chaplain, are out there with them, doing training with them, sweating with them, getting dirty with them, spending time with them, say, hey, I'm here to offer some words of encouragement. Would you like to come to a service? And they gather around, and I'm under the wood line there in the trees. That's where I love to share some words there. Rite sacraments and ordinances, baptism services. Again, the things that you would typically and traditionally do in the local church. What are some other things that chaplains do? Well, as an active duty chaplain, you get the opportunity to do some cool things, some hua things, if you like that. Had the opportunity to serve in an airborne unit, and every unit in the Army has chaplains. So whether it's an air assault, whether it's an airborne, whether it's Rangers, whether it's Special Forces, there are chaplains there, and those chaplains need to be able to do what those soldiers do. And so if they're called to jump in and fight, the chaplain is going to be with them as they jump in. And I think that's just such a wonderful blessing, such a wonderful opportunity that we have, a privilege to be able to be there with these men and women who defend our nation in the most critical time. To travel, to go to some interesting places, to do some interesting things, we have that opportunity as well, both in the reserve component and on active duty. So some of the distinctives is it's full-time ministry to soldiers and their families. Full-time pay and benefits. And for many, I know that that's not necessarily the motivation or the incentive for why they want to serve as a chaplain, but the reality is to be able to take care of your family, to ensure that they have the medical care that they need, and that's being taken care of, which frees me up to be able to focus on full-time ministry to my soldiers. Some of the schools that are available for you on active duty, some of the Army schools, again, as airborne, air assault, Ranger, some of these types of things. But in addition to that, some schooling for further developing your gifts and what you can bring to soldiers is called advanced civil schooling. And so later in a chaplain's career, they have an opportunity, if they would like, to choose to attend one of these particular tracks. If they would like to go on and get another master's degree in ethics, world religions, they can get their CPE. And so the Army will send you for a year to go get your clinical pastoral education, and then you'll have the opportunity to utilize that skill that they've given you to serve in a hospital or in a medical unit.
There's also an opportunity to go on and get a master's degree in marriage and family counseling, as well as homiletics or business administration. So this is a great opportunity to further your education and to be able to specialize your particular skills to soldiers. And that's the direction that the Army is going. And throughout my career, the emphasis has been on getting a lot of different experiences, having a broad range, which is a good thing because you're able to understand several different units. But I think there's a movement now towards really honing in on individual chaplains' gifts and skills and abilities. And say, I'm really not a hua kind of guy. I don't necessarily want to be out there with the infantry, but I enjoy hospital ministry. And I would enjoy getting my CPE education and working in the hospital. That's really where I excel. That's where my gifts are. And so the Corps is looking to say those individuals who have that particular skill and gifting and that talent, we want to kind of keep them in that so that they're developing those skills and they're utilizing those skills for the best of the Corps and for the best of our soldiers. So there are many opportunities for you, and if you have a particular gift, you don't have to think, well, gee, do I have to jump out of airplanes if I'm on active duty? No, that's not the case. If you like to, you can volunteer to do that, but that's not something that's required of you. So those are just a few of the, I could go on and on talking about active duty chaplaincy, and this is what I really enjoy. This is the best part of recruiting, is really being able to tell the chaplain story and to let you know what opportunities out there. So what our hope is whether you're saying, hey, I'm interested in becoming a chaplain candidate, I'm interested in joining the Army Reserve, maybe I'm interested in active duty, you're saying, you know what, I'm not qualified to do that, I'm not really interested in doing that. Our hope is to help you to know what those opportunities are, and especially our school administrators, and we thank you so much for being here. You know your students better than we do. And we can come and visit your school for a day, and we can talk about the Chaplain's Corps, but you can identify their gifts and skills. You can help them to identify their calling. And now, what I hope is that we've equipped you to be able to say, have you thought about the Army chaplaincy? It seems like this is something that might be a good fit for you, that you would enjoy. It's kind of an outside-the-box ministry. And so as you're getting to know your students, and you're being able to identify their gifts and God's calling in their life, to be able to present that to them as an opportunity to serve. Or again, whether you're serving among clergy and pastors in your community, and to say, hey, have you ever thought about being an Army chaplain? You seem to enjoy the military, and it's something that I think would be a good fit for you. Do they even know about it? And so we want you to know more about it.